Hello and welcome to today's episode of Orion Now. Thought I'd switch things up a little bit and try to shine some light on this nasty cold winter we've had. So many of you have heard and talked to me about this young girl, Alayna. Not many people know much about her, so we thought we'd take the next 20 minutes or so and really dive into her story and hear a little bit about what's happening in Alayna's world. So first, I'm pleased to welcome Dawn Preby and Beth Shifferd, who have been huge parts of making this little girl's light a little brighter lately. So first off, Alayna. Tell me about Alayna. Who is Alayna besides this name that we've been hearing around town?
Alayna to me embodies the spirit of Lake Orion. She is our little girl. I think she's everybody's child. She's the little girl that was at Stadium Drive Elementary. She was the little girl that's walking the halls of Walden. She belongs to all of us. Back in June, finishing school like everyone else, was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. And she had undergone her first couple of doses of chemo, and then she had a severe reaction to the chemotherapy. It caused some brain damage, and then she went into septic shock and is now a quadriplegic.
Okay.
So Alayna has had so many challenges, but yet these little hiccups, she still is fighting and excited and happy. And when you see her, she makes you just, I don't know, happy to be around her, and she just has such a spirit.
She does, she does. So, okay, so July 2nd, that was last summer, and she's gone through just everything, the most terribly imaginable things that you could ever imagine a 12-year-old girl to have to go through.
Absolutely.
And so at some point, your daughter, Jackie, who's an amazingly talented young girl, came up with this idea. What was this idea that she came up with?
Well, oddly enough, she had performed at the Wildwood Music Festival, and there was a gentleman, Doug, that had put that on, and I told him this was his moment where he paid it forward, because he had this music festival and asked Jackie if she would perform. And on the way home from that concert, just the bells and whistles went off in Jackie's head, and she said, "Mom, we could do this for Alayna." Partially because while we were at Wildwood, everyone kept saying, "Is this for a purpose? Is there a purpose? Should we donate money?" And we kept saying, "No, it's free of charge. Just enjoy the music, enjoy the day, enjoy the beautiful amphitheater that we have at Wildwood." Yeah. And so when we got in the car and Jackie just had this great idea, my first thought was, I need to call the Girl Scout moms, because how we know Alayna is her sister, older sister Madeline, and my daughter Jackie were friends and in the same Girl Scout troop, and I was their leader. So Girl Scout moms in this community are amazing. They're doing amazing things every day, and I knew who to call. So there was a group of us that met at Starbucks, and everyone in this community brings their unique gifts and talents to the table. Jamie Kinzer had a lot of knowledge, and she said, "I can set up a website. We can get on this UC hearing. We can create a website." Bethany Johnson was helpful to me with setting up the concert. She has daughters, and we three and she. And
which is a band.
It's a band. It's a local band, and it's kids. It's kids. Yeah. And I had the minute that Jackie put it out, we used social media, we used Facebook, and the minute we had put it out, I had all these kids that are talented in this community, and we have some amazing talent in our community. We had 29 acts that said, "We want to be part of that day," within 2 days.
And how much were you offered to pay the acts?
We were paying them nothing. We said, "You have to show up," and what we did ask them to do was we asked them to use their own promotional pages, because a lot of these kids have fan pages, and we said, "We want you, it's a challenge, we want you to come and perform, we want you to bring 50 people and let them know that this is a fundraiser. We're trying to raise money for this little girl, and if you each bring 50 people to the concert, we'll raise some money." And Jackie's goal was 10,000. She came to you and the Township board, and you all were so gracious to her, because she said, "Where do I start?" And I said, "I think we need to start with Mr. Barnett. We need to go and talk about using Wildwood." And then she came before the board.
She was awesome, brave. We put her on the spot. She asked for help, which was obviously probably a great thing for her, just in life experience. But so the concert happened in August, is that right?
September 21st, actually. Yeah, it happened September 21st. we had put the idea together. We needed a little bit of time. Jackie was ready to do it that weekend. Like, okay, we're ready to go. But it did take some time. But the community itself, that to me was the most amazing part, because once the concert started to come together, we knew we had the acts. Bill Weiniger, who owns a party rental, he's a long-time Lake Orion resident. I called him and said, we may need some tents. We never know what the weather's going to be like in September in Michigan. And Bill's called and said, you can have tents, you can have tables. And then he called and said, would you like some bounce houses? Can I bring a cotton candy machine? So Bill was so generous with everything that he donated. Stacy Ben, who is in Lake Orion, she works for McCann Detroit, and she said, I'm on signs. Yeah, that's all I needed to know. So she created signs and flyers, and I kept saying, let me know if I need to contribute money. And she kept saying, I'm calling in a solid. I've got a favor. So the way that everyone comes together in Orion and uses their own gifts and talents to make something great happen is what I feel like it just embodies who we are as a community. I think it's the most fantastic community.
I couldn't agree more. So September, the big day comes. It's a Saturday.
It was a greater plan.
It was just mind-boggling. When I showed up and stood on the top of that hill and saw, when you came across the hill to see what was happening there. I mean, there were, how many people would you estimate?
Oh my goodness.
I would say there was at least, people came in throughout the day, 2,000 to 4,000 people, I think, throughout the day. And we had pillars, donation pillars, and my favorite story of the day. There was a woman that came, and she was probably about 80 years old, I would say. And she came up to me and she said, are you the organizer? And I said, well, I'm the organizer's mother, thank you. And she said, I am on a fixed income, but I drove up here and I want to give you this check. And she gave me a check for $5. And later on in the evening, as the Girl Scouts had come over to help count all of the money, we were opening, we opened the pillars and we had the money spread out and the checks, and we were counting everything. And the Girl Scouts were remarking, oh, here's a check for 1,000, here's another check for 1,000. And then we came across this woman's $5 check. And what I said to the girls was, this is what our community is, because those that could afford to give generously, gave generously in donations of 1,000 and in donations of $5. Because for her to come, she got in her car, she drove out on a Saturday, not knowing what she was doing, but wanted to be a part of it and wanted to contribute. So to me, every $5 meant something. And it ended up being the tune of $29,000 by the time we were finished with the day.
Unreal.
Which was an amazing amount of money. And Jackie, my daughter, who had a goal of $10,000, I think she mentioned that a few times to you, was over my shoulder as we were calculating, and she said, is that $2,400? And I said, no, we're at $24,000. And she just said, this is an unbelievable amount of money. But what it also showed, and I felt that this was the great part, another great part of our community, and that particular day is all of the performers were children. And there were so many kids that felt empowered to do something in a helpless situation. Because when you find out that your friend has leukemia, or you find out that this little 12-year-old girl is now in a wheelchair and she needs help further than what you would have originally thought, for that many children to be able to come together, just the teens and the youth, and volunteer their time and their talents and come and say, I want to help, it solidified to them that they can do something. There's no way you need to feel helpless in any situation. You can do something.
Right. I agree. I think that everyone across the community was involved one way, shape, or form. And I think it was amazingly empowering for our students to know, like, they can actually step up and do something.
Absolutely.
Okay, so crazy, amazing day. We're going to talk in a few minutes about how Beth went from there and just became Extreme Makeover Lake Orion Edition. But let's skip to the very end, which was a few weeks ago when Alayna finally was able to come home. Tell me about that story and what happened. So you got word that she was coming home. You both did.
Yeah.
And so you made a few phone calls.
Yeah. Well, when I found out she was coming home, to know that she was in the hospital from, I want to say beginning of September.
She went to the hospital July 27th, and was finally coming out, was that February 4th?
Right. So
I-
7 months.
Yeah.
6 to 7 months. So to know that she had spent that kind of time, and she's made amazing strides. There was a point that I visited her in the hospital, and you could see in her eyes that Alayna had just checked out for a moment.
Yeah.
That's the best way that I could put it. She just sort of checked out, which I think she was overwhelmed. And then to see her coming home, and you can see the fire in her eyes and the spirit of who she is, was there.
So you guys organized
So
a welcome party?
we knew that we needed to welcome her in a great way. So all I had to do was call. I called Carol Burke, actually. She's one of the teachers at Walden, and Alayna was in her class. And I said, "Can you get Mr. Groya on this?" And what we wanted was, because it was the middle of the afternoon and most everyone was at work, we knew we would be short for that many people to come home. We thought, oh, she's going to come home to a handful of us. And we needed to make it bigger and better, because when you've spent 7 months in the hospital, you deserve a princess welcome. A warrior princess deserves a welcome. So the kids at Walden Middle, with the help of Jessica Kropog, our teacher, they made signs, and they all stood out along the sidewalk at Walden Middle. And as Alayna came home in her transportation van, they just made a quick run through. And that, again, when you see the genuineness of the students, because I saw tears and I saw boys that had painted purple as Alayna's favorite color, and they painted little football stripes underneath, and the kids wore purple, and they were holding up the sign, and they were chanting for her and rooting for her, and she was just beaming from inside the van. But it was a moment that was all about her, and they were able to celebrate that homecoming success with her. Because the kids at Walden have done slipper days and hat days, and normally they'll volunteer, or they do these things for 50 cents or so.
Right.
They were donating their money to Alayna. So we've already picked up a couple of checks from about $200 just for wearing hats. But for them to be able to celebrate in the significance of her coming home was unbelievable.
It was amazing.
And I never met this young lady, but I happened to be able to be there at her house when she got dropped off, and it was over for me. And she doesn't still communicate verbally, correct?
Right, correct.
But to
She does
see
say hi.
She says a few things, but yeah, not much.
the smile on her face of a girl I'd never even met before just wiped me out. I mean, I was a mess. I think somebody might have taken a picture and not happy about it.
I might have that.
But, you know, I mean, it's just, again, it's just a testament to this amazing story and of hope. You know, it's such a terrible story, but for even just so many students in our community to just find hope that they can make a difference from wearing slippers to school or playing a concert, you know.
Absolutely.
Well, on the home end of that, right before she came home, we had the part of the football team at the house who they were helping move furniture. We didn't know what to do with some of the furniture in the house, and we couldn't find a storage unit that was going to work out. And next thing I know, John Blackstock, the PE teacher at Walden, and a group of football students were there helping out, and they came and also helped clean up the yard, and it was amazing.
All right, so thank you. Thank you for
pleasure.
sharing the amazing story. It gets better. When we come back, you're going to hear part 2 of the story, so stay tuned. Thank you.
Celebrate the arrival of spring and hop on over to the Orion Center on Saturday, March 29th for the 2014 Bunny Bop. Bring a basket to hunt for eggs filled with candy and prizes. Families can enjoy a pancake breakfast or create fun craft projects. And of course, the Easter Bunny will be there for a special photo opportunity. The family-friendly fun starts at 10 a.m. Pre-registration is required. For more information, visit oriontownship.org or call 248-391-0304, extension 305.
And welcome back. We're back to hear the second part of this amazing community story. And with me, joining right to my right here, is Mike Mannino, who is construction extraordinaire, we're going to call him. Beth Shifferd, who is the brains behind all of this, who we've already met. And then Tim McNaught, who is our Orion Township building inspector and been on staff at Orion for a long time and has been a huge part of this project of actually making this happen. So we're going to start off by we heard a little bit about the concert and the interest in how this story became a story in our community. So then Alayna's in the hospital and she's going to come home. And I get a call from Beth, and I hear rumblings from the other end of the building from Tim that we're going to work, there's a cool project on tap. So take me from there, Beth. How did you decide to stay involved after the concert and kind of take it to the next level?
Well, actually, Terry, Alayna's mom, approached me on starting to think of some ideas of how Alayna could come home because the home was not accessible for her to come home. And then I had talked to my husband about who do I call. And so he suggested I give FaithWorks a call. And so a couple gentlemen from FaithWorks came out and took a look at the project and tried to give me some ideas as far as how to make the house accessible. And then...
so she's completely... she can't go upstairs.
No.
And they live in a colonial, right? So there's no way for her to get to her old bedroom, right?
No, or bathroom.
Right.
So full baths are upstairs, half baths on the main level. So I then talked to another builder who came out to the house, and he suggested I call an architect. And one of my friends is an architect, Dennis Diener. I just wanted him to point me in a direction. And next thing I know, he's jumped on board. His wife is an occupational therapist, Tricia, and she does all home modifications. And they said I needed to go to the township and find out more about the setbacks for the lot. And
you have an extensive construction background, right?
Oh yeah. No, besides painting, that's about it.
Did you ever build like a birdhouse, anything you can put on your resume?
A little bit in wood shop class in
Okay,
junior
so
high.
all right, so we'll give you a little bit of credit there.
I got a little bit.
I'm gonna ask these guys to critique your construction management skills at the end here. So, but anyway, okay, so you come to the township.
I came to the township. I had been in touch with Christine, just getting some lot information.
Right.
And then as soon as I walked in, the office was pretty full. It's a Monday morning, and the first person at the desk is Christine. And so she was looking up some information about the lot, and she said, "Do you want to talk to a building inspector?" And I didn't really know, what I was going to say or ask. And next thing I know, Tim steps up, and you were what are you trying to do here? It's exactly what you said.
That's what we're supposed to do, yeah. What are you trying to do in our community?
And he right away said, is this the little girl that we had the concert for? And then you were tremendously helpful from there forward.
Yep. That's cool. So Tim, so your perspective. So you got this lady at the counter who looks probably lost.
Well, the first part was Dawn at the board meeting. I was at that board meeting when Mr. Berger was turning in his resignation. Yep. And that's when I really found out about the concert and what had happened. And that kind of just, what Dawn's daughter did on her own was just huge to me.
Right.
And then next thing you know, she's at our counter and wanting to help, and with knowing that Dawn's daughter did everything, I knew I had to help, and I knew the people that would help. So I just kind of at that point told her, we'll get this thing built and we'll probably get it done for free.
Right, and I remember you coming down and telling me about what was going on, and I don't think there were even plans drawn at that point.
Nope.
But I think you made some sort of comment to me like, I'm going to just make sure that we get this done, which was huge, and he did, right?
Yeah.
So now we're going to keep moving through the story, and I know there's interrupt me is if I missed something here. So at some point, did you know Mike Mannino, Beth?
That was the same time at the counter.
That was the same day at the counter. So I walked in really just wanting information about the lot. That was really
setbacks.
it.
You're looking for setbacks.
That was it.
Yep.
And then next thing I know, I'm like, great, this is one thing off my list. I was told what I could do and make sure it's right for Alayna. And I said, that's great. I just am off to go find a general contractor now. Thanks, have a nice day. And then Tim's like, hold on a minute. And he gave me one name and actually made a phone call while I was standing there, which I, at that point, was in tears, being so thankful that somebody wanted to jump in and help like this, help this girl.
That's awesome. And so I'm assuming the phone call went to you, Mike?
Yeah.
And did you send him, like you normally when you see his name, you probably push decline, send him a voicemail. Did you get his voice, or was it a voicemail? You talked to him?
I let it ring for a little bit. Without myself.
What does the building inspector want? What
did I do wrong now? You know, and then he I answered it, and he goes, "You're going to do this project." I'm like, "Okay, what is it?" And then he started to explain about Alayna, and that sounds like the kind of projects FaithWorks does. And I am a part of FaithWorks. It was kind of neat. Beth was looking at FaithWorks, and they had come out and looked at it, and they had mentioned it to me before, and not through FaithWorks. She comes up to me and and says, "Hey, we need somebody to help out with this project." And I go, "That sounds like something we do." And we looked at the project, looked at the needs. There's absolutely no way Alayna could go on the second floor. So we're trying to, we had to find a way to keep her on the first floor and have a flush area from her bedroom all the way to the kitchen. So as she gets better, she can go to the kitchen by herself in a wheelchair or whatever she needs to. So those were the basic needs. And Beth goes, "I already got an architect, I got this, I got that," and things just started popping up. And Tim just starts sending me people, "Hey, this guy wants to help, this guy wants to help, this guy wants to help, and this guy wants to help, and this guy really wants to help." So all I did was basically put it all together.
And so tell me a little bit, what is FaithWorks? You mentioned FaithWorks a couple times. Tell us about FaithWorks.
Well, FaithWorks is a really unique group, a group of men that our mission in life is to help out widows and orphans. John 1:10 says, or 1:18 I think says, perfect love is to help out widows and orphans. And a bunch of men that really had nothing to do just started meeting every Monday morning. And then someone came to our group and said, "Hey, listen, the widows group at our church wants to have us come help out some." And then it just started to explode after that. FaithWorks has been involved in some really crazy stuff. We got involved with Life Remodeled. We've built several houses in a week. Now there's a big push. Last year in I think it was August, we built a house in a week in Detroit. Beautified 42 blocks, boarded up 250 houses, and remodeled 35 houses, all within a week.
Wow. So Ty and the cast from ABC's Home Extreme Makeover have nothing on you guys, right?
We did it in 5 days. We did it in 5 days, but Ty's the man. He knows what he's doing. He really does. We just kind of followed his lead.
Well, that's cool. So, okay, that's more than cool. It's amazing. So, all right, so you get the phone call, and you're not asked, you're told you're going to do this, which I like.
I was voluntold that you're going to do this project.
Voluntold.
I'm going to do this project.
All right, so kind of catch me up, and anybody can jump in on this. So that was when? What are we talking about?
That was
Roughly.
October.
So October.
It was October.
October. So we need to get blueprints drawn. We need to get
Yeah.
permits pulled. We need to line up all kinds of trades and supplies.
Permit fees waived
Permits
by the
fees
Township
waived.
Board.
Yeah, the township. I mean, obviously that was a no-brainer. We can't. We're not taking credit. That's the right thing to do when we have a community project like this. But so kind of take me through this next. So Beth, Mike runs a business, a successful business, and he's a busy guy. So you're probably, I know you're really the one on the ground, really trying to organize stuff, working with Tim, trying to pull this all together. So talk about some of the things that happened from October through when you actually break ground.
I think they just gave me a to-do list.
So
and
that's all we need to do is give you
I
a
just
to-do
need
list?
the to-do list, and
Yep.
You give her a to-do list, it's done.
That's
It
awesome.
gets-
Within
gets
minutes.
done.
I mean, I have a hard time keeping up with her on the to-do list. She's like, "What do we need next?" "Well, I need a contractor, I need some siding, I need this, I need that." She calls me back in 45 minutes. "Okay, what else do you need?" I need
Well,
some time to get it done.
Yes.
it's amazing how it all came together because if I was heading one direction and I asked somebody for help, so I was trying to kind of aim big, asking some bigger groups to step in and help, and the answer was always no. And then as soon as I let go of that, I'd turn around and somebody would be just waiting to help out.
Right.
It was just being at church, talking to one of my friends, Mike LeBrun. Mike's like, "I'll come frame it, I'll come do this, I'll come."
Right.
Majority of it's all local workers.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah.
it's
Oh
our
yeah, oh
community,
yeah. Right.
absolutely.
It's the
They're
Orion
great
community, and that's the way we
community,
kind of wanted to keep it as much as we could.
Right. So you, the weather was really cooperative.
So let's see, November, the plans weren't
Coldest winter
finalized yet.
ever. Most
and
snowfall.
The snow started to fall, and I remember the pit in my stomach. Like, oh, when is this going to happen? Because now they actually have given Alayna a release date of December 15th. It's not going to happen by then. How do we even modify the home so she can come home?
Right.
And then Mike and Tim had their ideas as far as how to modify just so she could at least be at home, which has worked because she is home. She's been home for 2.5 weeks.
Right.
And
so the weather didn't cooperate. There's just you actually learned trial by fire what it's like to be a general contractor, right? Everything works out just like you lay it out. And then you scrap that plan 9 times until you get to the one that actually works, right?
I say everything has worked out by plan B, C, or D on this.
Yeah.
Right.
A, forget it.
Right. So the construction the actual site work starts sometime in January.
29th of December, demolition happened on their Florida room. January 1st, we attempted to excavate, but
Too cold.
no, we ran into DTE power lines.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
And
always a nice
then
one.
everybody those had to get moved.
Right.
And then that was
That was my big one.
Yeah.
that was
That was
amazing.
A 6 to
absolutely
8
amazing.
month
Process.
wait that I got done in 10
yeah.
days.
And for those of you that don't know, working with DTE or any of the big
Utilities.
utility companies doesn't matter who you are. You're on the list, and that list is 6 to 8 weeks or months. You're right.
Yeah.
So that's not going to work.
Unless you're a 12-year-old quadriplegic who needs something done immediately.
Then
I think Tim had a lot to do with that. I'm a
just
licensed
told-
builder. I've been doing this for a long period of time, and I know my last 2 projects, Consumers and DTE gave me a 3-week lead time. It took them 6 months to get done what we needed to get done. Just running power to the house. That's all we needed to do. And I told Beth, well, the power lines are inside the envelope of our building envelope. And she's like, so what does that mean? That means problems. Those are some major hurdles. Utilities, we can get contractors. We can't get a contractor. We can get another contractor, or get another contractor, or get another contractor. There's one utility. There's one power, and there's one gas. That's it. And they don't let anybody else do it. So our options were limited. So I call up Tim, and I'm like, hey, Tim, we got a big problem, this and that. He goes, I got it. What do you mean you got it? He goes, I got it. And I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. When are we going to get this done? A week and a half? What was it, a week and a half, 2
10
weeks?
days.
10 days.
It was 10 days.
It's got to be a world
From
record.
when
That is a
well, that was January 1st. So I called on the 2nd, and they gave me at least a number of somebody, and then Tim took it from there, and it was 10 days. It was the
It's
12th.
amazing.
January 12th.
And then
they came
things
out.
started really happening, right? Got the foundation in.
During record.
record cold.
Oh my gosh.
Record cold, record snowfall.
Yeah.
Digging a hole in frozen ground.
Yep.
And then the foundation went
Concrete.
in, and then the fun stuff where you can actually see progress was the big frame day,
Yep.
which was on a Saturday, Friday and a Saturday. Friday night they put the deck on, and Saturday there was roughly I was able to stop by and just be there a little bit. It was really cool. One of the 2 times I cried out there. So that
Only
was
2?
Saturday. That's why I'm not going out there that often.
It's tough.
So so that was awesome. They were like ants. You had 2 crews. You had people that made food.
Yep. I had a food crew and I had the volunteer crew, build crew.
How'd you find these people?
Well, it started with my friend Mike LeBrun. I was at church and he always called me, hey Beth Ann. He likes to give me a hard time. Hey Beth Ann, what are you up to? Up to no good these days? And I told him the project, Alayna's project, and he wanted to be in. And then I told Mike about Mike LeBrun. Of course, he knew him. And
What's Mike do for a living, LeBron?
He works for a company called Belfour.
Yep.
And
We got to give him a shout out.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mike
yeah.
LeBron's the
Mike,
bomb. Mike
he's-
is a
Fire restoration.
Fire.
and water.
And I actually knew him too.
And
Did
he,
you?
And
Yes.
and he is.
He had a deck
You know,
fire
I
last
was
summer.
out there for a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah.
He's bossy. Okay, let's just get that out
He
there.
is bossy, and he was mostly bossy to my husband.
Which
He
was
was
good.
really nice
We
to
needed
other
that. You needed a
volunteers.
bunch of people that were super excited to have tool belts on that really should. None of them probably should have had tool belts on. we needed some bossiness out there.
A lot of
Mike,
them were.
Mike, we can harass Mike, but he's not here to defend himself. Mike, I got to give kudos to Mike LeBron because he was bossy, but he was nice about it. The guy was.
Yeah, I'd say it.
He was
I'd say it
very
in love.
patient.
I mean, he was awesome.
He's an amazing guy. I don't want anybody to misunderstand Mike LeBron. He
and there was
a volunteer was trying to cut something, you know, and he goes, "What about this?" And then Mike's just like, "Cut the line, just cut the line." And he said, "What about that?" Just cut the line. I don't have that patience. He says, "Just cut the line. Just do me a favor and cut the line. Don't worry about this. I already got it. We're just cut the line."
Yeah.
And the volunteer finally cut the line.
Well, a lot of the volunteers, they work at Continental where Terry works,
Right.
and they're engineers, and they are very precise and amazing, and absolutely.
Say no more.
They're awesome engineers.
I have to say,
they're good at what they do.
Yeah, they're good at what they do.
wow, to work at a place like Continental and have that kind of support. I mean,
Yeah.
Terry
Yeah.
works at an amazing place.
Yeah, I met some of her coworkers that day. That's amazing. They were giving up their time and talents and some money to be there. So
Shannon is an engineer, and she knows nothing about construction. And of course, talking about the weather, the Saturday of frame, it was downpouring. Snow.
Yeah.
Shannon, with
got 8 inches.
with no experience, just could see, you know, framers working, and she saw the snow piling up on the walls that they're building, and she comes out with a broom and starts sweeping it off,
Yeah.
just to make it easier for us to get
cool.
what needed to be done. And it's just amazing the volunteers of Lake Orion came around and just helped out where they could. A lot of times people freeze. I call it a volunteer freeze. They see a need, but then they just freeze.
Right.
I don't know what to do next, you know. And you don't have to be a framer. You don't have to be an electrician. You don't have to be, you know, even if you know how to make cookies. Beth had a team just, you know, giving cookies or meals to the guys while we're working.
Sloppy Joes were amazing.
The sloppy joes were the bomb.
I agree. I mean, you can't. I mean, honestly, if you could take one story and kind of have it summarize what our community is about, it's this story, in my opinion. I mean, from start to finish, someone is in need, and literally the whole community stepped up. Are there any other needs that for the family at this time that you can think of that haven't been met?
Nursing care.
Nursing.
Finding
Nursing care.
reliable, qualified nursing care is such a challenge.
Because at the end of the day, this is she's 13 years old, right?
Almost 13, May will be
Almost
13.
13-year-old girl. And boy, she's got a smile, doesn't she?
She has been
Yes.
so happy since she got home. I visited her a few times in Ann Arbor. It's a totally different person that came home.
Really?
Oh yeah, she's just glowing.
That's
Oh,
what
I see her. I see her
keep
smiling all
hearing
the
too.
time.
She just is so happy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just to be back home. All right, let's any last thoughts? Either you can answer this question, or you can just share if there's a story you wanted to share that we haven't got to. Why did you do this for each one of you? Why in the world did you? Time and talent.
Dawn's daughter and Alayna herself.
Cool.
It's the right thing to do.
What about you, Beth?
I'm friends with the family. There was just no question, and I would do this for anybody. I had 4 kids, and I just know that if I ever had a need or were in a situation, it'd be really nice to know people are there to help me, and I absolutely would do that for somebody else.
That's awesome. Mike?
For me, it's a little bit different. I do a lot of this kind of stuff, and as odd as this sounds, I think I get more out of it than them.
Yeah, this has been a privilege, an absolute privilege to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of Lake Orion. Lake Orion, there's more people than that in this area, more givers than takers in Lake Orion. When everybody sees a need, it's filled. And I've been around other cities and communities in downtown Detroit to Flint to Westland, and I don't see that as much as Lake Orion.
You know, I echo that, and I would just, first of all, thank each one of you from the bottom of my heart for being just the hands and feet of what Lake Orion is. But I agree. I think that's what makes our community so different. I mean, there's a lot of great communities around us, but man, when there's a need, this community, there's no doubt if someone's going to step up. It's just who is it going to be this time? So
I had no idea when we moved here 8 years ago that Lake Orion was like this.
yeah,
Like I've told you before, I grew up in a small town where that's just what you do. Port Austin, you know everybody's business, and so you're in everybody's business, and they help each other out. I was hoping to find that when we moved here. I had no idea how closely knit this community is, and I feel very lucky to live here.
Awesome. Blown away. No other words can describe just the last half hour of just this amazing story. So, testament to an amazing community that we live in. I want to thank all of our guests today, and thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for further episodes of other exciting things in our community.